This may be South America's first citizenship by investment program, as Argentina teases a $500,000 fast track to a passport by making an investment in the country. I'm going to share all the details of this new opportunity with you. Now, South America and Latin America in general has always been a region where if you have an income, or even if you have cash in the bank, you can move there. Unlike Europe, unlike Asia, you often don't need to actually make an investment. And we've told you for years, you can move to Argentina simply by showing them you have an income, showing them you can support yourself. And if you live there for only 2 years, and if you actually live there, and if you spend your time there, you can apply for a passport. The whole process will probably take you about 3.5 years to get that passport in hand. But you're making a lifestyle change because the new president is actually increasing the amount of time that you need to spend to get naturalized. But what he's also talking about now is a $500,000 investor program where you can get a passport fast and you don't have to actually move. Nomad Capitalist is actually hosting a webinar where we're going to discuss this opportunity in greater detail. There's a link in the description. My colleague who was recently with me in Buenos Aires, who met with folks in the government, she's going to tell you what the requirements are and what we're looking at. And another one of my colleagues is going to tell you why you might want an Argentina passport. Then I'm going to come back and give you my thoughts.
Hello, everyone. Javier Correa, Tax Terminator, live from Bogota, Colombia. Reason number one. Argentina is a large country with a large population that is well recognized on the international stage. And you'll tell me, well, Javier, that doesn't make a difference. Under international law, all sovereign nations are equal. And yes, in theory, you are correct. However, in practice, when you want to open bank accounts or do business or travel around the world with a country's passport, you get usually more doors open for you when that passport is issued by a well-recognized country that has a more robust economy behind it. Reason number two, I think from a lifestyle perspective, Argentina is super interesting. Great food, fantastic wine, fascinating history, theater, and culture. So from a lifestyle perspective, you can use your passport to enjoy a wonderful country. Reason number three is Mercosur. Argentina is a member of Mercosur, which for those of you who do not know, is somewhat like the European Union. It hasn't reached the same level of integration, but point being, if you're a member of a Mercosur country or you're the citizen of a Mercosur country, you can more easily travel around, do business, and bank in other member states around South America. Reason number four is Argentina has a libertarian president, the only one that I at least identify easily. So Javier Milei is a very interesting character. He's a fan of the Austrian School of Economics, just like me, Javier Correa, no pun intended. And basically what I love about it is you have a president who openly defends the free market, wants to reduce the size of the state, and he is fighting for liberty. How rare is that in a politician? Extremely, right? And you've got Javier Milei in Argentina. I think that would be definitely the fourth reason. Javier Milei, I love his policies. I want to see where that really takes us in the near future. But Argentina could potentially become a very interesting place for libertarians, for crypto investors, and for liberty-minded people around the world. Reason number five is obviously Argentinians enjoy a very high degree of visa-free travel. So the Argentinian passport is a respected passport around the world. You've got visa-free access to the Schengen area in Europe, which includes most of the European Union and countries that have close relations with the European Union, such as Switzerland, for example. You also have great visa-free travel around the Asia area with hubs like Singapore and Hong Kong, allowing Argentinian passport holders to fly there visa-free. In the case of the United States, well, you do need a visa to travel to the U.S. as an Argentinian citizen. Argentina is not seen as a hostile nation. Therefore, if you meet all the criteria to get a B1, B2 visa, then, definitely you should be able to get your B1, B2 visa. And obviously, that will always be up to the consular officer of the U.S. Nothing is ever guaranteed, but at least I see no major obstacles to an Argentinian getting that visa if he or she meets all of the criteria. Obviously, around the Mercosur area, like South America and Latin America in general, Argentinians enjoy a very high degree of visa-free travel also. So ultimately, with that passport, you can very easily travel the world on a well-respected document. So as you can see, there are several reasons why Argentina's passport could be worth a $500,000 investment. But to find out if it is for you, go to our upcoming webinar, and it'll be my pleasure to see you there soon.
This is Javier from Research and Development team of Nomad Capitalist, and I'm happy to tell you a little bit about the possible citizenship by investment program in Argentina. I indeed was in Argentina a few weeks ago, and I talked to people in the government, I talked to local lawyers, I talked to a lot of people, and I immediately told our research team that we should focus more on Argentina and find out more about it, because I knew, and it was very evident with the recent political changes in the country, that something big and interesting would be coming up. So we're going to tell you a little bit more about the program at our webinar that you can find a link for below. But I'm going to tell you the most important thing that you need to know about the qualification for this program. The contribution for getting a citizenship would not be a passive investment like real estate. It would have been something that specifically contributes to development of Argentina, job creation, specific industries like energy sector. And what are we going to do on the webinar as well is that we're going to compare a future citizenship by investment program in Argentina to already existing citizenship by investment programs. We're going to see what are the pros and cons and who this would work for.
This is a passport. Historically, people have avoided in some camps because, hey, I can't renounce Argentina's citizenship. It's a human rights issue in their laws. You can't lose your nationality. I think that's certainly true for natural-born citizens of Argentina, where if you're born on the soil, you're a natural-born citizen. Same as most countries in the Americas, the US, Canada, Panama, Mexico, all the same. If you're giving birth, you can give birth in any of those countries, and your child will be a citizen merely by being born there. If you're a naturalized citizen, or if you're a citizen by an investment type program, there are some limited cases of people giving up Argentina's citizenship. Now, the reason people say, I don't want to have a passport I can't give up is, what could the government do to me? And I've asked this question before. Could the government introduce citizenship-based taxation where you make an investment, but you don't live in the country? Now you've got their passport, but they're asking you to file a tax return. And that is certainly a risk that you want to take into account. That's something that you want to think about. We help our clients go through those risks and figure out what their feelings are on that. You can go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply if you want to work with us to build your passport and residence portfolio. My thought is the US has citizenship-based taxation because they can. EU states like France have teased it because they can. Australia and Canada, some politicians, there's an entitlement. Whereas in a country like Argentina, where I would guess there are plenty of people who aren't paying, who live in the country, the government probably realizes, I think the government's going to solve people paying their taxes who live in the country over time. But do they have the historical means, the historical desire to chase people living overseas? What I've told you is you can look for countries with a diaspora, for example. So Ireland, if you're an Irish citizen, there's a history of emigration where I don't think it's in their DNA to want to tax people who live overseas. Could Argentina do that? I guess they could. That's, again, a risk you have to take into account. But I think there is a difference in the DNA of some of these Western countries where they're coming down from a high versus a place like Argentina where hopefully they're moving in the right direction. The benefit of an Argentina passport obviously is great visa-free travel from a quote-unquote more substantial country. So we help people with Caribbean citizenship by investment. These countries in some cases have 5-figure populations. And I've used a St. Lucia passport all over the world, including recently in Argentina. Hey, where's your country? They ask in a very interested way. Oh, we're part of the Commonwealth. Okay, yeah, God save the king. Great, come on in. Nobody really bothers you. But if you're going to the UK, if you're going to Ireland, could there be a time when an Argentina passport is taken a bit more seriously than a Caribbean passport? I haven't noticed that myself, but maybe, there's going to be a trade-off. You've got a country that's perhaps, taken a bit more as a quote-unquote real country, but you're making a more substantial investment. And I think this is a passport for someone who actually likes the idea of South America. This is a passport for someone who just wants to live in South America and they want extended privileges throughout the Mercosur region. I think it's for someone who likes the benefits that a more sparsely populated continent provides. For someone like me, where my big part of the world is not South America, even as a passport collector, I'm not sure how I feel about this passport. I'm not sure it adds enough to my portfolio to justify an investment. Now, some people might just say, hey, I'm sitting on $100 million, invest $500,000. Why not add a passport to the mix? And that's certainly an option as well. This is the kind of thing, again, we help our clients figure out. If I can just donate $200,000 or $150,000 and get a relatively equal quality passport for travel that gives me the same backup plan in terms of being able to move around the world, that may be more interesting to a lot of people than tying up $500,000 that who knows what that investment will pan out to be. We're going to learn more about these investments over time. Some of these investment programs, the investments aren't investments like a stock or a bond. You can just easily sell and you can just easily get your money back. And so I might say to somebody who wants a high quality backup plan, take that $500,000, put it into a European golden visa, and then add a little bit on top and get a cheap citizenship by investment. Everyone's different, but I think someone who is particularly focused on South America is probably the first priority for this, unless you just have a very high level of wealth where you want to build a large collection of passports. So those are my thoughts. The answer, as always, is it's different for everybody. If you want us to help you, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply. We'll be happy to assist you in building your passport portfolio, and click the link in the description if you want to join our webinar and learn more about this particular opportunity.